Welcome to Really Raha, the podcast for coaches and creators who want to build luxury brands without burning out. I'm Raha, business energetics coach, PhD student, and sponsored skateboarder. I went from serving tables and hustling every client to building six-figure systems and offers that sell in my sleep. Here we talk all things raw when it comes to business strategy, nervous system regulation, and stepping into your goddess frequency with tangible, actionable steps to help you scale to consistent 10K plus months. If you're here, you know freedom is your birthright. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Really Raw podcast. We're going to have a coffee chat today. If you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, you can see my literal steaming cup of coffee. I haven't even had my first sip yet. Hold on. Oh my God. It's so good. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I woke up today and I was like, wow, it has been 2 years since I put in my 2 weeks notice as a server, almost to the day. My last day would have been Thanksgiving had we been open on that day. And I just had this moment of gratitude and just remembering everything it took inside me to finally pull that trigger and to send it, to know that I was ready. Because the truth is, and a common question that I got so much is, how did you know you were ready? How did you know you were ready to leap from your comfortable job that you were getting a comfortable wage in and go all in on your business and just bet on yourself? And then how did you go on a year later to hire your partner into your business? I brought in my partner. So we are in my business together, as you know, Mike. And it was all a sequential point of events of betting on myself and believing that it was possible for me. And ready does not exist. Like, I just want to preface this episode, whether you are still working a side job, whether you are all in on your business, whether you want to start expanding it into a team, this is a reminder for you, the female boss, the girl boss who wants to start delegating more, who wants to be the visionary more, who wants to step into the creative leadership lens where you're not wearing every hat. And oftentimes we think that we need to be this certain amount of ready. It's like, I'll be ready when? Okay, when I make this much money, then I can hire a VA, then I can hire a DM setter, then I can hire a closer. And yes, there is math, there is logistics that go with that, but the actual principle, ready does not exist. Ready is a place where dreams go to die because we are constantly pending, waiting for this moment of readiness when we create ready. And sometimes there's external pressure that causes that bubble up to happen. For me, what made me pull the trigger at work when I was a server, they had hired a server into the restaurant, and he was like, if you looked up narcissist in the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistic Manual, and I'm not a fan of labels, don't get me wrong, but for the purposes of this metaphor and conversation, this guy had every characteristic. And in that moment, like, one of my values is I don't want to be around people I don't want to be around. Like, I don't want to choose to do that. And it really aligns with my core value of freedom. Everything in my life I build around my value of freedom. And I didn't feel free knowing that I had to go to work and work with this guy that was absolutely awful to all the female servers on the staff. And I had no choice. That was the part that got me, is I had no choice. I had to bite my tongue. And it's enough, as a server, you bite your tongue so much. You get disrespected by customers, you bite your tongue. You get yelled at, you get everything under the book. It's you can't react. You can't respond. So my throat chakra was constantly blocked. And when this guy came into the restaurant, it was even worse. I knew I had to go into work 5-6 days a week, sometimes 7. And I had no choice but to wear a mask and to put on a smile with someone I didn't have to. And I felt this deep, deep incongruency in my values of, I can't believe I'm letting myself down. I think that was the feeling right before, is I just really felt like I was letting myself down. And I couldn't actively take action towards that, knowing what was going on. My eyes are watering just thinking about it, because that was my breaking point. And we can create our own enough is enough rock bottom moment, but the universe gives it to us sometimes, and that's what leads to the action. And for me, that's what that was. I couldn't spend another night crying in my car after my shift just so I don't have to go inside and let my animals see me cry so that they wouldn't get worried about me because they're sensitive. I couldn't go to work another day and just put on this mask. So I almost did it without even thinking. I just went to my managers. I said, okay, this is my 2 weeks. And I didn't have any extra plan in my business. I didn't have anything. This was before I had spreadsheets. This was before I had numbers. And not saying you should do this without spreadsheets or numbers, but I make a lot of my decisions with my intuition. And I just knew that with the energy I was leaking, with the time that I was leaking in my job being a server, I knew that I could put that towards my business and grow so much faster. So that's exactly what happened. And I was about 75, 80% ready. I left my serving job, went all in on my business, and I had so much energy. I had so much time. I didn't know what to do with it all in the beginning. I went from working 40 to 50 hours a week to creating my own schedule and filling up that time. It was honestly surreal. I didn't know what to do with it. It was time abundance. And my first step was to start treating my business like I would any 9 to 5 on my terms. And within less than a year, I made my first 100K in my business. And I didn't have a crazy amount of followers. I barely had my business account. I had less than 1,000 followers because it's a quality business. It's a high ticket business. You only need 4 to 5 clients a month, and then they continue to renew for it to be a successful and abundant business. So that was what I did. And that was my evidence of I made the right decision. And I knew it, because if we're constantly waking up and living incongruent with our values, living incongruent with our purpose, that by default does not align with our soul's purpose of what we were put on this earth to do. So by default, I knew that I couldn't mess up. Like, nothing can get in the way of your purpose. Nothing. No matter where you are in your business, no matter what up level you're in, no matter what expansion, just want you to remember that nothing can get in the way of your purpose unless you get in your own way. So I chose not to get in my own way by leaving that job. And then a year later, 100K in, I got super busy with all the DMs that were coming in. I needed help. So who did I turn to? My soulmate, who just had training to learn how to be a DM setter. He worked with a real estate mentor who was focusing on Airbnb as an investor, and he would mentor other people and he would help them build portfolios with Airbnb. And Mike was the DM setter for that offer, for that coach. And he brought in $870,000 worth of sales from the sets that he made. So from the people that he took from the DMs to book a call with that coach that ended up closing into sales, 870K. So he had the exact skills that I needed for my business. So I proposed him a deal. I was like, okay, like, obviously you need to go all in on my business. Like, there's no half here, half there. Like, we don't believe in that. It's exactly why I left my serving job, because the half in mentality does not work. It doesn't work with your job and your business. It doesn't work with multiple offers. Go all in on one thing. So I knew that there had to be some sort of offer I can make Mike, my partner, to come into my business as my DM setter because that was exactly what I needed help with, the DMs. I could not handle all the DMs and also make the content. And also I needed help with him to be my VA. So he was sending my emails with my clients. I needed help. And finally, I found a deal that I could propose to Mike. And it was a base pay condition of, if you don't get this much commissions per month, then I will pay you this as the base pay. And I'm so, so lucky that the amount of expenses and living bills in his life are literally 4 times less than mine. He's been so good to be able to do that, to be able to live a simple life because all he wants to do is skate. Like, that is his core value, also is freedom and to skate. So he doesn't need anything extra. Like me, on the other hand, I got my hair, I got my nails, I got my coaches, I got $10K worth of coaches monthly. So, and I need that because I really value in having experts in my corner. I mean, they're my entourage, right? It's like you got every model that has their entourage, the makeup artist, the creative director, the hairstylist, they go with the model everywhere. That's what it is for me. That's why I've been able to make it so far is I have my team. I have my team of entourage, my coaches, that anytime I need support, I don't need to leak energy trying to figure it out on my own. That's the beauty of 2025. That's the beauty of where we are. So that's what we did. That was a journey in and of itself. We are here coming up at the end of the year of having him in there. We brought in another 100K in my business together, and we just started launching ads, as you've heard me talk about. And we just started shifting into a more targeted avatar with the ads. So right now we are having about 25 to 50 conversations or so a day coming in from opt-ins and new follow outreach. And now it's building revenue room. And I didn't tell you this yet, but I just launched a new masterclass, free masterclass this upcoming Monday. And I'm teaching DM setting, high ticket sales for the coach. And to sum this all up and this story all up before I even talk to you about the masterclass, and the reason why I wanted to make this episode with you today is to remind you that there's no such thing as ready, that you wearing all the hats in your business, you thinking, I can do this on my own, I don't need to hire a coach, I don't need to hire a VA. There's no reason. There's something deep there, because I hear you. That was me. I really thought I could do everything on my own. I really wanted to do everything on my own. But leadership, it's you being the visionary. It's you not exuding so much physical energy. It's you mastering the art of delegation. Because if you start to run the numbers and see how valuable your time is, then it is a lot less money for you to hire and to delegate, so that you can spend your time in your zone of genius and what you can only do yourself, such as making the content, fulfilling your clients, and so on, things that only you can do, versus you don't need to be sending payment emails to your clients. You don't need to be in the DMs sending all the messages. You don't need to even be doing the discovery calls with the people coming in. So that's that next level of scaling. Start to look at, here's your actionable steps. Start to look at where you think you need to be fully ready before bringing on help. Crunch those numbers. How much is your time worth? How much more would you be gaining by bringing in someone that can help you with that part? For me, my number one investment I make every month is my life coach, my nervous system regulation alignment coach. I've had her in my corner for 4.5 years. And once again, I would not be where I am without my team in my corner. I have a sales coach in my corner. I have a marketing coach in my corner. I had a copywriter coach in my corner. And it's allowed me to gain the skills that I need without me wasting time, not wasting, but putting in so much time, just spinning the wheels, staring at a Google Doc that is just a blinking cursor. That to me is a waste of time. I tell my clients, if you are ever staring at a blinking cursor for more than 5 minutes, that's when you hop in WhatsApp and you send me a voice memo of where you're stuck. Because I truly believe that your time is so valuable that you should never spend it just staring at a blank screen. Not in 2025, not when we have all these resources, all this abundance around us of people that can help us, people who have mastered the skills that we need support in. So look at where you are in this 3.0 level of your business. We are coming up on 2026. Who do you want to be next year? What kind of leader do you want to be? Where do you want to take the back seat on some things? Where do you want to start to reprogram some of the nervous system stories of you thinking that you need to be on? Because that's the fire frequency talking. And it's really hard, even after you hire help and you bring in support and you bring in coaches, whatever it is, it's really hard to actually get your body on board with that. Took me about 6 to 8 months after bringing in Mike for me to actually stop checking the email, for me to actually stop checking the DMs, for me to actually trust him to do these things, because it's like my business is my baby. Like I built it from the ground up. It was literally nothing. It didn't even exist until I gave it life. And that's hard to pass off to someone, but it's even harder doing everything yourself. And another actionable step I want to give you today is to look at where you're living incongruent with your values. If you haven't already revisited your values, I mean, we need to revisit them. Like, for example, for me, freedom, connection, transparency, those are some top values of mine. So where in my life am I living out of integrity with those values? Because that's that cognitive dissonance. That's when we feel like we're not in integrity with what we're showing up with. And that's a weird, icky feeling. So where are you in conflict with your values? And what is that honest conversation you need to have to step into more alignment with those values, step into more freedom? And chances are you value freedom as well. My audience, my clients, my people in my orbit, they value freedom as well. It's why you're a business owner. It's why you're scaling your business. It's why you have a high ticket business, because you value freedom. You don't value hustle. You value predictability. And so you get to ask yourself, are you living in alignment with those values? And where aren't you living in alignment with those values? And start to reverse engineer. What is that action step? What is that next thing? And a lot of people who come into my world, it's them wanting to understand DM setting. Like, what happens when the people come into your DMs, your potential clients? Can you guide them through the conversation confidently? Do you know the outcomes? We are not doing these scripts anymore. It's not about word tracks. It's about grabbing outcomes. So my masterclass on Monday, I'm so excited to host it. I'm so excited to be in the same room with you. This is not something I do very frequently. I do these live free masterclasses only a few times a year. So this is November 24th, 6 p.m. Pacific. Even if that timing doesn't work for you, still sign up. You'll get the replay. And we're going to be getting so deep into feminine sales. So the art of going layers deep with your potential clients in the DMs, on your discovery calls, using NLP. This is what we're going to be talking about. And Mike is going to be in there with me. And we're going to be talking to you about Revenue Room too at the end, so that you can understand what exactly my new group program is about. This is my only program now. Like, I don't do one-on-one anymore, except for the beta, because Revenue Room has the beta launching December 1st. And with every beta, I build it from the ground up. So I add one-on-one support as a bonus so that I can get feedback from the core people inside and I can build it. So that's what's beautiful about beta. And it's the only opportunity where you will have that one-on-one support with the group program at 25% off for the entire container. So this is honestly, you will never, ever see anything like this. And yeah, if you ever have any questions, send me a DM on Instagram. Sign up for the masterclass. I'm going to put it in my show notes. Come in, just plug into the frequency. Come into the frequency, know what's possible, know what's next. If you're thinking, I don't know if I'm ready for this, babe, you are ready from the moment you started your business to start looking at the vision of these conversations. Because in order to sign a high ticket client, we need to know what we're doing in the DMs. You don't need to be any level to know what it's like to reframe an objection, to know what it's like to guide someone through a call. This is something I wish I had from the very beginning of my business so that I could have the confidence of, okay, I know exactly how I'm going to show up on this call. I know exactly how I'm going to show up in the DMs. And this is what I'm teaching you. I want you to be equipped with those skills because it is a matter of skills. So it's been very nice having this coffee chat with you this morning. And I hope your day is beautiful. I hope you were reminded of not needing to feel ready. I hope you're reminded of where am I out of alignment with my values, with where I am right now. If you want to tag me that you are listening to this podcast on your story, I will restory you. And as always, I love you and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Bye. If this episode resonated with you in any way, if something clicked, expanded, or shifted for you, I'd love for you to share it and tag me on Instagram at Radiant Rahoff so I can celebrate your breakthroughs with you. And if you haven't already, subscribe and leave a 5-star review so more high-level coaches like you can find this space. Thank you for being a part of this community. I love you, and I'll see you next Tuesday.